Welcome to Ask Mark number 90. We're out here in the beautiful Aussie winter sun for another set of your questions, basically. Q&A straight from the comments section, got them all here. So leave your question below. I'll make sure to answer it in the next one. And don't forget to grab a copy of my book. It's now available from the link in the description. Let's get straight into it. The first question is from Peace Beat, who says, Mark Rosenfeld, yes, I had a bad experience in online dating, and now I don't know how to meet in a safe way. The way you recommend is a good idea, but I don't know how. How can I know it's a good guy, and what would be the best way to do it? Thank you. Helen says, I would like to know this as well, please. This is my first time on a dating site. Great question, Peace and Helen. If you're wanting to date safely, the biggest thing I can say is get your experience up slowly, but in person. So when I say in person, I actually mean over the phone as well, but I mean in a live setting in person. So you're either talking or you're interacting. Texting is not a good way to hone any of your intuition. So get on the phone a lot and get used to saying no, telling guys no. When you're better at doing this, you'll be able to meet up with more guys. Trust that intuition, and only when you're really trusting it and you're really confident in your ability to say no and put boundaries with these guys, then you can meet them in more private locations. The biggest thing with unsafe guys, honestly, if you want me to be really honest, is they pick up on women who can't put a good boundary in place or who aren't very good at saying no. So by working out your no muscle, by being okay pissing a few people off, and by just removing all the dud dudes that intuitively you know are just not right, by doing that, you're going to be able to increasingly feel safe doing that in more and more private locations. So again, get on the phone with the guys. I generally recommend just give them your number. Practice your intuition in live settings. So it's the phone and then in person in public places. And then when you're confident in your no muscle and you're confident turning guys back and saying no, that's when I go to increasingly private situations. Next question is how to approach or date a shy guy. These are a little bit two different questions. The biggest thing there is if you're confident that he's shy, just put yourself across and then just let him come to you, basically. You can do some of the legwork if you really like him, but most women eventually, you want the guy to come to you, you want the guy to invest in you. So put yourself out there to him and then just give him the space to see if he comes to you. And if he doesn't, he's too shy. If he's really shy, you can do it for him, but you'll probably eventually get sick of doing that. Javina says, Mark, I don't know whether he has broken up with me or not. Right. He doesn't say anything, he doesn't pick up my calls, he does not reply to my texts. I don't know what to do, please help. Janiva, I don't know if he's broken up with you with his words, but he's definitely broken up with you with his actions. Move on, girl. You deserve better. Akka Dakka Jade says, what to do when you know that you love him, but also that he is not enough, i.e. perfect in bed, but nothing else. Well, if he's not meeting your standards, then you move on, honestly, Jade. If he's not, if these aren't things you're happy to live with, you say he's good in bed, well, he's nothing else. Well, nothing else doesn't make a partner. You can love him, but loving someone doesn't mean you're with them as a partner. Sometimes loving someone means giving them the consequences of their actions. Sometimes loving someone means walking away. MissNamiM says, there's a guy I've been talking with for about 6 months. He calls me every day. Golly gosh, that's a lot of phone calls. Just now, I know he has some issues about work and he asked me for a couple of days alone. We haven't met due to pandemic. We haven't met, but we call every day. Wow, that's a very odd situation. If he's calling you every day, you guys should be close enough that all this stuff is pretty straightforward to you, but I would definitely recommend meeting, because this guy's taken up a lot of emotional bandwidth in your mind, and if you haven't met him, you're not really going to be able to meet anyone else, are you? So absolutely, if this is someone you're talking to every day, he wants a couple of days space, for sure. I think that's pretty healthy. But I don't know if I'd want to continue it if you're not meeting up with him. Jessica says, my question is, what happens when you did trust him 100% and he breaks that trust? I don't think we can come back to full trust now. He keeps proving me wrong every time I do. It worries me that you use the word keeps, because that says it's happening more than once. I really like Esther Perel's content on this again. Trust is something that takes a long time to rebuild, and you need a new level of openness to create that. So for example, if you found your man texting another woman on the phone, yeah, you can rebuild trust from that, but you better be willing to do 6 months of open phone policy to build it. And he better be willing to get help for it, etc. So whatever the indiscretion is, there better be 3 to 4 times, not just depth, but length of trust building activities to make up for it. And the fact you've used the word keeps says to me that that is not something that is happening in your relationship, Jessica. So until it does, I wouldn't be trusting him either. Aayushi says, please help me. My boyfriend is rude to me. We fight daily. Oh gosh. I called him 2 days and he said he's feeling much better than before, so not to disturb him. I asked him about relationship. He said it's not over, but don't call me or text me. I will update. Pray for me, please. Honestly, Aayushi, if a guy is saying to you that you're my boyfriend, but don't call me or text me for a month, he ain't your boyfriend anymore. End that. I know it sucks, but it's really that simple. You can't be tolerating this. Rosa says, wow, reading the comments, I thought we were talking about getting ghosted, but women are complimenting you. Oh, that's lovely. So I bring my game, and my A-game comment, ooh, bah, you got the mood short going, lol. Who collected these questions? Matthew. And everything else now, in all seriousness, my question. Oh, there is a question. We're at the last line and there's finally a question. Thank you, Rosa. Isn't there signs coming to that pattern? I know I would just leave next.
I swear that wasn't mine.
That was a note. That was not a question. Thanks, Rosa. I appreciate that. Whatever that was. I like it. Paula, what if you're dating a guy who thinks he's God's gift and he's never satisfied with one girl? I'm not one to date more than one guy, so I'm not letting him call all the shots. Help. He's allowed to date more than one woman if he wants. He's perfectly allowed to do that. And you're allowed to not date him if he wants to. You're perfectly allowed to do that. A lot of guys, by the way, will have this, and I won't go into depth here, but for guys, multiple dating is a safety thing because intuitively we know that you could get sex anywhere, anytime you like. So it's a way that instinctively we hedge our sexual bets. Not saying that's a great thing, especially for a relationship, but it is definitely a thing. So if it's up to you if you decide if you want to tolerate that. And then when your actions back up your words, he will decide if he wants to lose you or not. Cattyagent says, to be honest, I don't understand what's wrong with being needy or being perceived as needy. Don't people go into a relationship because you have needs that you can feel met by only being in a relationship? And isn't it healthy to be honest about what your needs are, especially in a relationship? This is actually a great point because you're absolutely right. People have a terrifying fear of being needy, and yet there are healthy needs to be met in a relationship, and you should express those needs. It's actually the fear of being needy that stops those needs being expressed. So there is a healthy middle ground. A relationship will meet your needs, and it should. It's healthy to take your needs from a relationship, but you can cross over into needy when those needs become obligations. When the other person no longer has freedom of choice. If I start using language like, you should hug me, you have to hug me if you're a good boyfriend, you have to spend more time with me, you need to be a better boyfriend. I'm going into needy language there that's controlling your behavior, restricting your freedom, and you're gonna feel my neediness because you no longer have choice. I've added obligation. So you're absolutely right. Needs and neediness do often get confused, and it's important we separate the two. This one's an email. Hi Mark, I just want to say your videos have been a godsend recently. Thank you. I have 2 questions. Number 1, I'm someone who gets emotional or a lump in the throat when I voice something that's bothering me. But guys freak out if I cry and dismiss it as me needing therapy. Maybe it's true, but how do you confront someone if you have this issue? I think it's healthy what you're doing. If you are speaking up about something that's bothering you, and yeah, you're getting a little emotional, but you're doing it, I think that's healthy, at least from what you've written. If guys are freaking out and dismissing it, then those are guys who don't want to be responsible to you in the relationship. And question 2, when I date, I really feel like I'm my best self. Then as time goes on, I start to think that they only really like the sweet part of me and I don't know how to relax. I also tend to overthink when there are just natural silences. We're together for several hours. I start thinking, is he bored of me? Do we have nothing in common? But I'm just so uncomfortable in silences and can't stop me thinking about what it means and what it says about me. Any advice about this? Yeah, I think this is super common, and it sounds like you've got some stories probably from high school that you started telling yourself where you felt you had to fill in gaps or you felt you had to do something to be worthy of love. And those are stories. And the discomfort that you've got to sit with. So it's far be it for me to go into the depth of healing work, but if I was working with you as a client, what we'd do is we'd go and connect to the child you, the younger you could do this with a psychologist as well, explore some of those stories, debunk them, and start to get you comfortable that you don't have to do anything to be worthy. You are just inherently worthy as you are. So silence is just as much your friend as talking. But yeah, that's coming from some deeper stuff, so I would recommend a little bit of healing work around that if you can do it. NI says, is it better to give a specific date, like let's catch up Friday, or would it be better to leave it open, such as it would be great to catch up again soon? This is how to talk to a guy on the phone. Usually it's better to leave it open. Say, hey, it'd be great to speak again soon, because that gives the guy the option of which days to initiate. But if you can use the other one as well. If he says, hey, it'd be great to speak soon, and you say, yeah, let's speak Friday, that works too. So don't get caught too up in the semantics. The most important thing is he knows that you're interested, so he can figure out the rest from there. Valentina says, I need some advice. Come to the right place. It was hard, but I waited around 6 weeks to reach out to my ex. We even scheduled a meetup and he was kind and willing about it. But one day at the meetup I had to cancel because I got sick and I got a little worried when I could see him again. So I asked if he could meet up the day after, but he said he had an appointment. Then I got a bit desperate and asked again the next day if he can squeeze a cup of coffee in before his appointment. He said no. I feel like I kind of messed it up by being pushy and desperate, and that was the last time we talked. He never texted me back after that. I'm not sure what I can do from here on. Valentina, go back to what you were doing. So take another 6 weeks, work on yourself, get your finances right, get your health right, work on your own goals, work on disconnecting from the previous relationship, and then you'll have more time. Kimberly says, I need help. My boyfriend and I broke up 11 to 12 years ago when we were still teens. Wow. But we always kept communicating, checking in, wishing each other a happy birthday, and as of last year, we became close again. I'm divorced and with 2 kids, and he's single with no kids. We want to start up our relationship again. We live in different states. Any tips? Well, there's some good tips in the Make Him Yours, the long distance video, which is where you left the comment on. I mean, the big things is figure it out with the 2 of you. Like, that's what the teamwork is for. So you start with the phone, get reconnecting, get flirty, and then see if he's continuing it from there. It takes 2, and you got to suss out if he's keen for that with his actions first of all, and then if his actions are a bit unclear, you can bring it up with words. If you're getting mixed signals, for example, if his actions are unclear. And from there, you work as a team to basically build it. I mean, I don't know any of the compatibility details, so I can't really give you any hard things based on your situation here, but what I will say is where you've got 2 willing people, you can make it work. If you have 2 people who aren't willing or who aren't able, then you're going to have all sorts of trouble. So the real thing is just to figure out if he's willing and able. It sounds like you are. See if he is too. If his actions back it up, you're good to go. This is on the what to do if he says he needs space video. If he's not keeping updated and if he's not contacting me at all, it's not good, Alexis. It depends on the lengths of time, because you could be saying, well, what if he hasn't contacted me today? That might not be that weird. But if he's not contacting you at all, you have every right to shorten that space length that you've given him, because he's totally putting your needs aside, so his needs become less valid, and to say, hey, if you're not going to keep me updated, then this relationship's not working for me. Sarah says, I'm always paranoid and anxious and pick fights with my boyfriend. He is always giving me a chance after I beg for his forgiveness, but now I can feel it no matter how sweet I am trying to be nice. It seems that he doesn't believe me anymore. How do I change this? Oh, golly gosh, Sarah. This was on the sabotaging video. And kudos to you, because you've recognized this and you've said, hey, I realize I'm doing this. Sarah, I think this could be a codependent situation, if I'm being honest, where you're looking at him as your full source of security, and it's getting to the point where you're using strategies like creating drama to get that. It's beyond the scope of what I can say right now, but I'd check in with a psych, check in with a therapist, have a chat about it, and look at, well, what am I leaning on him for constantly, and how am I communicating that I got to take responsibility for? And by doing that and by taking that action, he's more likely to start believing you. And then when he sees you back that up with real action, even the way you use language, if it changes where you're no longer coming after him, you're controlling him, you're expressing your own feelings, for example, that's how it will probably surface on the outside, and he'll believe you. But good question there. I'd love to break that down more with you, but I don't. Without knowing exactly what you're doing, it's hard to give practical stuff. Last couple of questions. Can you make a video about why men drool over some women? Like, some women get more unnecessary attention than they want, just men lusting over them. What is it about them that makes men lust? Without knowing specifically what you're referring to, a lot of it can be high school stuff. So basically, if a woman matches the type of girl that a guy always wanted in high school, then those guys will replay that over and over again. And so, for example, you'll see this a lot with blonde-haired, blue-eyed women where they get put on this pedestal because culturally guys were trained that if you can date that kind of woman, you're amazing. And so guys, to feel good enough, want to complete this fantasy kind of for the rest of their life. So that's one example. But the short of it is, if it fits a previous idea that the guys had, then the guy will want to transact through that woman. There's no point being jealous of these women, by the way, because it's transactional interest, it's not real interest. And when I coach women who are, for example, very, very beautiful, one of the problems they have is that, well, I've got 400 men that want to date me, but most of them want to transact through me. They're not really here for me. How do I deal with that? If you do want to work with me as a client, by the way, fill out the form in the description. Gina says, Mark, I'm horrible. Aww. I've become what I hate. I'm the other woman now. But he was mine way before he met her. Is that bad or my part in this? Well, there's no point beating yourself up, Gina. I would literally just say, if you're not in a situation that you like, it sounds simple, but change it. You know, you're obviously there because it's meeting a need of yours. So maybe have a think, how can I meet that need in a different way? Call the guy out on it. And if it's not working towards your relationship vision or your future vision, then it's probably not a good use of your time. Two more questions here. Number one from Catherine. I would like to know how to deal with a recently divorced man. If he's fully divorced and he's genuinely open, then you should be okay. The big thing with these guys is you want to make sure they're divorced, not separated. And if that's the case, you've just got to check in what their, I hate to say it, but kind of what their damage is. Are they in a really good space, or have they been financially, relationshiply a bit jaded? It's about talking to him and getting a feel for where is he at. Is he really wanting another relationship? Is he wanting just company right now? Where is he at? And hopefully he's open to tell you that. If he's not, that's probably a sign that he's not in a good place for it. And finally, WhereIsCynthia says, I have a question. Thank you for encouraging questions. My pleasure. How can I tell a guy I'm not into coffee dates or meeting for drinks without sounding entitled? Dinner dates or fun activities seem to be infinitely more successful dates. Coffee dates are boring. I couldn't agree with you more. I'm 38 and I don't even do coffee dates with my lady friends. We can go and coffee do the badass stuff like jewel heists. Tell them you want to do something fun. I just say coffee's boring. Can we do something fun? Honestly, if this is you, then guys that don't want to go on coffee dates either will say something like, thank God I freaking hate coffee dates. Yes, can we go on a jewel heist? Or go to the university, or go and explore a park, or whatever it is. You're only filtering in for the guys that fit you, right? So guys that are just like, I love coffee dates. Coffee dates are amazing. Why is this woman being crazy? They're going to give you weird responses, but they're not your people. Send whatever text your future partner would respond really well to, which would be something simple like, hey, coffee dates are kind of boring. Can we do something fun? I want to go on an adventure. And if that guy's a fit for you, he's going to love that text and it's not going to be weird at all. But I couldn't agree more with you. Stay away from coffee dates in general. Do you agree, Maddie?
But I really enjoy coffee. It can start there and then go somewhere else.
You like your coffee dates, do you, Maddie?
I like getting like takeaway coffees.
Because you can go for a walk then.
Yeah. Happy to do that, but not sitting down in a coffee shop.
You've got to have movement on your dates. Yeah. Coffee or not, make your dates exciting and keep them moving. This has been Ask Mark number 90. Thank you for joining me. Leave your questions in the space below, and I'll see you in the next one real soon.